it Kathy Whiteley or Kathy Whitley?
morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania Hundoke. And today we have uh, uh, Douglas Moriarty on this actually Sunday. I still have Saturday up there. It's Sunday, the 17th of August, 24th of June, in the 13th year of Chongalguk. So thank you all for coming. Let's offer a bow to our true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, Chanji Tampamuninge, Kyombe, Paro. And let's recite our family pledge, both in Korean and English.
가전맨세 4. 전일국 주인 우리 가족은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님의 찬조 이사인 천주 대가족을 형성하여 자유와 평화와 통일과 행복의 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 4. Our family, the owner of Chongalguk, pledges to build the universal family, encompassing heaven and earth, which is the Heavenly Parent's ideal of creation, and perfect the world of freedom, peace, unity, and happiness by centering on true love.
Thank you, and I'd like to share Mother's prayer again. Heavenly Parent, whenever I look into the face of the baby, I feel cleansed inside. I feel like he's looking through to my mind. Parents can't become bad, something like that. Whenever the baby cries extraordinarily or is uneasy or is sick, I always look into myself and see what I have done wrong. The reflection always comes there. Then I always feel that God is with me and is sympathetic with me. Whenever you witness to people in your homelands, you must have the heart of true parents to them. You must take care of them and know that they feel and know what they feel. And if you really love them in the position of true parents to them, I know you will be completely successful there. Please remember, we are always with you. Heavenly Parent and true parents are loving you so much that they can't leave you but live with you in spirit. So be confident and work hard and raise many children as possible. Please don't forget that your Heavenly Parent and true parents are with you always, wherever you go. In true parents' name, Arju. Thank you, and let's give a warm welcome to Douglas as he shares this morning.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Very happy to be here this morning. I had a premonition last week that something like this might happen. So Daniel last night gave me a call, and I was happy to do this. I really miss morning Hundake. I'd like to say that off from the start, and reading, especially things like the epic of Korean history. And I've been attending the Cheongshim prayer for a little less than a year. And I was actually thinking of stopping doing it and coming back to doing the Hundake. And then a series of things happened. And so I'm quite happy continuing with the Cheongshim Wan, but I really miss the morning readings. And I just can't do both. So that's where it stands for me. What I wanted to share this morning is it's called The Joy of Finding Our Original Voice. There'll be no diagrams with this. I'm just going to speak through it. There was no time to prepare for it. And I think it's better this way. It's easier for me too. The joy of finding our voice. There's a statement. It says, when violence causes silence, we're surrounded by a world that is in chaos and so much turmoil and difficulty. And many people don't know how to express it, can't even talk about it. It's just overwhelming. when you do talk, you wind up in a divided conversation. There's no way to understand each other oftentimes anyway. The issues are so complex. But um, I remember 2 years ago, I actually spoke about this, about the sounds of silence. It's one of my favorite records of all time with Simon and Garfunkel. And then I got really excited at that time sharing with a new version of that song being done by a group called Disturbed. And he sang it with such emphasis about how roughly how sad it is that we have this silence among us. And really, we have to overcome it. So Satan, in the beginning of history, he stole everything from us, including our voice. So we've been living in a world that is outside of God's, and led into deceit after deceit after deceit. And we're seeing the whole world in turmoil today. So it's really interesting what's happening. So there's so much to talk about. Yeah, we don't speak enough. But True Mother is giving us the background to do that, to have great discussions. And she's feeding us with so much educational material all the time. So the foundation that True Parents have given to us is quite enormous, and it's unfolding in front of our eyes as the fruit of all human history. So we're living in the most exciting of time. We should be shouting with joy. And we will be, I think. But just to give you some of the thoughts that rooted me again in the Chung Shem Wan prayer, I was thinking of leaving it because I was having a really difficult time with the shouting. I couldn't focus at all. It wasn't what I expected, yet it was so good. It was enormously good. And I really appreciated Kathy Whitley talking last week about this. I think it was last Sunday. A lot of the points that she said, I've really concurred with. Just being there is really good, you know. So the thing that I struggled with most, and all the struggles turned out to be good, was the screaming prayers. And I don't go talking to people about it in America, but I just listen and I see that I think a lot of people around the world, maybe in America or the West, they're a little uncomfortable with it. But it dawned on me that this is an incredible gift, and it's not what I thought was going on. I thought it was a little bit false and, performed. But actually, it was what I was doing before I ever found the church. And it's the fruit of True Parents' providence. There's no doubt about that. So it's all about prayer. 60 years ago this year, True Father came to the world, and he opened up Holy Grounds in 1965. So this is 60 years after the opening of those Holy Grounds for the sake of motivating the world to prayer. And we're really in that time period, that the fruit of that. And what happened in 65 was, there's a lot of cute stuff here. True Father came, he blessed the Holy Grounds in Central Park, New York City. And then Harry Nilsson, he wrote a song, I guess the Lord must be in New York City, which is really quite amazing. Beautiful song, you can look it up. By the way, I want to leave you today with a few songs to think about regaining our voice. And that's one to start off with. I guess the Lord must be in New York City. I think it was written in 1966, 1 year later. So if you have a pen and paper ready, there will be 4 other songs that I'll talk about. And then soon after that, a psychologist started to perform a form of therapy, which he wrote about after 3 years, and he came out with a book called Primal Scream in 1970. So from 67 to 70, right after the father established the Holy Grounds, a therapy came into the world's attention called this primal scream, which is a screaming out for your mother and your father, and how significant that is, you know. So I was aware of that in 1970, and I had some experiences with this. I really wanted to go to. I felt troubled at the time, and I really wanted to go to this. And my brother had millions, and I asked for help. Please let me go to this. Please help, and he wouldn't do it. You know, um, I did talk to my other brother about it and his wife, and they went into it and they got involved in it. So I was persuasive enough at that time to get my brother and his wife to try it, and it would have been really good for them, except for the psychiatrist who was practicing it was a charlatan, you know, and did them a lot of damage, winding up in divorce. And then I had another personal experience with this thing where I was in the Navy, and when I came out of the Navy, I had a friend that I grew up with as a teenager. He was Jewish, and I was Catholic, and we were both really secular atheists at the time. But nevertheless, we would, you know, get into these discussions, you know, with our friends. We'd start off about 9 o'clock at night with about 15 people, and by 5 o'clock in the morning, it was just me and Howie over at his house and waking up his parents and so forth. And we were still talking, and we would talk until like the Holy Spirit came, and we would feel, you know, goosebumps and all excited about. We felt that the ideal world was coming, and both of us were beginning to fall in love with God. And then I got drafted. He went to university, and a couple of years later, we got together, and he had I had actually a nervous breakdown over my religious searchings and confusion at the time. And my friend had joined the Hare Krishnas. So we were both at Woodstock together, where we first saw the Hare Krishnas, only in 1969. But we lost sight of each other at Woodstock, and over years we lost sight of each other again. Every 10 years we seemed to run into each other. But here he was. He had joined the Hare Krishnas, and he was in there for about a little over 6 months, and he was chanting and focusing on God so very, very much that he touched a primal scream nerve, you know. And the story is, I'm just going to tell you graphically what the story was. He was on a New York City subway. He wound up taking all his clothes off, running down the subway, screaming, "Mommy, Daddy, Mommy," at the top of his voice. And of course, he got taken to Bellevue Psychiatric Hospital, where he stayed there for 30 days. At the same time, I got out a few months after that episode, and I met him in Brooklyn, where he was living with his grandmother, and he was recuperating from his experience. And he would be praying the Hare Krishna prayers, going up and down the hallway of their apartment, and she would be saying her prayers in Yiddish, and it would pass each other. Yeah, it was rather comical, you know. So we had a good time talking about all these things, but he didn't want to hear anything about God. Again, he took up bodybuilding, and then he took up computing, and then he became a millionaire, and he sailed around the world. My last conversation with him, he wants to hear nothing about God at all. So I'm praying for him, and it's one of my best friends. As it turned out, the primal scream expanded, and it became a world phenomenon to some extent when John Lennon and Yoko Ono practiced it himself. So after that, he wrote some very poignant music. One of them in particular was called "Woman." So he really discovered the value of woman. He discovered the family. He dedicated his life to the family. And I joined the church and I found True Parents, and eventually I forgot about Primal Scream. Um, but I was at John Lennon's funeral. This is more like a testimony I'm giving you today, but I was at John Lennon's memorial service in 1980 after he had been assassinated. And it was a miracle because God really appreciated his music. It was, I can say that for a fact because we had a crowd of 100,000 people in Central Park. When the service was over, there was absolute silence. And when the service was over, we walked over, about 10,000 of us walked over to the Dakota building where they had lived in New York for about 10 years, um, from the time that he did the primal therapy, 1970 to 1980. And people started singing Beatles songs, and they couldn't get united or remember all the lyrics on the first song. And then the second song, and I heard a voice saying, if they can finish one song and get the whole song sung, I will make it snow. That was a voice. And about, I can't remember right now if it was 2 or 3 songs or 3 or 4 songs or 7 songs, but it's just not coming to me. But each song that we sang and attempted to sing in unity, more and more of the song was remembered, and it was very encouraging. And finally, it was the 7th song that we tried to sing together as a group, 10,000 people. And it was So This Is Christmas. Amazing. From the beginning of that song until the end, it was a blizzard. Yeah. It actually snowed in large snowflakes, you know, and it came in just like that. It was just, it was just amazing. And then I heard that where I was thinking that heaven wanted to acknowledge John Lennon's search for the meaning of life and the value of life. And he discovered the family. Um, and that meant something to heaven too, because his music, even though Imagine is considered very secular by some people, he fell in love with the family, you know. And I think that's the best way to teach about the love of God. Even my brother said, he was a secular atheist. He said, family is my religion, you know. So it starts there, and John Lennon opened up the gates a little bit for a lot of people to think about the meaning of life and the value of things. And Primal Scream actually helped that happen, you know. So it's 60 years from that time when True Parents opened up the gates for prayer through the 1965 ceremonies. And it's right now that True Mother is advancing onto the worldwide level with prayer through the Chungshim One. I believe that, as the nations are trying to find peace and end wars and protect themselves from military opportunists, True Mother is building the only safety net for mankind, and that's the Chungshim One. It's literally a dome of prayer. The politicians or the leaders, they do their best to protect their nations, and they have, they talk about a dome, a shield of lasers to knock out missiles and things like that. But that can get very complicated, and it can be another tit for tat into space, like Star Wars. But a dome of prayer can stop it all. So True Mother is investing in building a dome of prayer. That's the only way I can describe it, And it's kind of exciting to see music, prayer, history to look back upon, seeing how True Parents made all the foundation that they did to bring us to this time. And also music plays a big part of this too. The purpose is to find ourselves and to find our voice again, you know? So in the primal scream, you're calling out to mommy and daddy like that. When I saw it in the Chung Sham Wan prayer, I don't know, I just completely forgot about that whole experience of my life. I could only see performance. I couldn't see the reality. There was a few people that I could see really the real thing. And then I started seeing there was more and more. And I saw whole generations of people being tuned into searching for God with such deep desperation. And then it got more and more exciting. But still, I struggled up until almost last week with this whole thing. And so I feel like I'm now on a new beginning because I did an AI research on Chung Shim Wan prayer and primal scream. And I said, I talk to AI like it's, I mean, it's a lifeless tool, okay? But it has unending knowledge. It seems to have so much knowledge. It's not alive. Some people might think it's alive, but it is what it is. And I turn to it to amplify my thoughts or to quicken up my search for facts. It helps me cut through a lot of wasted time. And I asked it a question. I said, I am stuck. How can I invest myself in prayer? When, I'll wake up the whole neighborhood if I shout. And, I'm sort of frightened to do it. I just can't do it. So I'm always like, And I got to the point where I can gratefully listen to it, silent as anything. And AI gave me some ideas, and it even said, it counseled me. It said, you do not have to shout out. You can go, Abaji! Instead of saying, oh, and doing that, even quietly. Inside, he said, your muscles are all investing. You're putting your whole body out into the prayer. Just like Primal Scream, it's not authentic in the beginning. But after you make that investment, like my friend on the subway, of praying for over half a year, he finally hit that point where he was really reaching out to his mother and father, heavenly parent. And we need that. We need that to bring us into unity and to build that dome of prayer. Somehow we have to jiggle it out between Hunda K and the Chung Sham Wan prayer. But I try to explain some of these things, and I'm so grateful that I came to this point. It took me over a year to get this. Not that I didn't get a lot out of the Chung Shim Wan. There's a lot, as everything that Kathy spoke of, I really concur with. But this screaming thing, I'm really grateful that I had a chance to explain it to you. And as I said, I had a premonition that I might speak here. I sort of wanted to anyway. But even about a month ago, Mary and I were doing a karaoke. All of a sudden, that came up to us. And a neighbor came over that we've been trying to witness to for 15 or 20 years. And it was just him and us, Mary, myself, and the neighbor. And I hadn't seen him for a couple of years. He brought a karaoke machine. We thought we were going to revisit the divine principle that we had discussed at times, but he would have no part of it. So anyway, we wound up doing karaoke, and I hadn't sang in a long time. And I said, wow, it's an interesting experience, but I really needed to spend more time singing was my reflection afterwards. And then Mary said, every song you sang was about searching for your mother or father. So she said, please don't do that again. You know. Anyway, because we sang songs, I can't remember. Mary, do you remember what the songs were? Anyway, they were all pop songs and really beautiful songs where you're trying to find Mother God, Father God, and songs about God. So then he challenged me to sing My Way. Now we love that song because Father, that was sung as a dedication to Father, but he used it as an opportunity to criticize us by saying, what did he say exactly? He said the that's an anti-Christian song, and then he wanted me to sing it. So I sang it the way I would sing it to Father, in honor of Father, okay, because he did it his way as an original man. And he was a little bit blown away, a little surprised, but I sang it because even though he was trying to bait me into feeling like this is an anti-Christian song. Nonsense. So anyway, about a month later, he invited us over to his house. And we had 8 people there for dinner, and we had a great dinner. It was like we were there for 7 or 8 hours, and long talks, and then dinner, and then long talks, and then we started the karaoke. And 2 people left. We had 6 with us, and then I sang some songs, and it was really amazing. I had a chance. You have to appreciate the fact that I'm on King Island, and we can't talk to anyone. It's just unbelievable. You go for such a long period of time, you might as well be up in the Arctic. But there it was. And these songs helped me to express myself. And since singing at that karaoke place, I've been led to find my voice and more. So I would like to just take a moment, if you grab your pen and paper, and just copy these 4 titles down as a background, and you might want to look into it, okay? Because music is very intertwined in the whole development of this prayer. First one is Sound Silence, written by Art Garfunkel. Listen to that. But there's another edition of Garfunkel. The next one is Freedom by Richie Havens. Favorite line is, sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long, long way from home. So that's Freedom by Richie Havens. And then another one, which is really a beautiful mystical song, but it's called I'm a Melancholy Man by the Moody Blues. And then the last one is where I just became unglued there in a heavenly way. And I was able to voice my resentment at seeing everything turn to war and violence. And it's a song by the Cranberries called Zombie, but it's a rendition that's done by Dan Vask. Okay, he's a heavy metal singer. But he does ballads, epic films, and all kinds of things like that. So he does a rendition of the Zombie by the Cranberries that is really good. And I sang that, as I did the Abba G. It was really, but a lot more harmoniously. So I'm going to read this point on, this is AI. AI is proving to be very, very interesting. It's oftentimes mentioned by Reverend Lee Key Song. He really appreciates what he's finding on AI, especially in relationship to true parents and providence. So it's called The Cry of the Heart. This is directly from AI now that I'm reading. It's called, and it's only part of an hour on AI with asking all kinds of questions. And by the way, if you ever use AI, it's biased toward the mainstream point of view. And if you want to know more, you have to challenge it. You have to actually debate it. You have to demand more of it. And then all of a sudden, wow, you know, it will open up. It will apologize to you if you, yeah, it's really amazing. But this bias to the mainstream point of view, you can't get to the crux of the matter. You can't get to the real knowledge that's out there. So it's almost like they're giving a flippant answer, you know. But if you ask the right questions, they'll go deeper and deeper into it. So my program with Copilot AI is already established, and they know where I'm coming from a host of writings, maybe 30 or 40 of them. And so they write back to me in the context that I speak to them in, you know. And there's been a lot of debate, a lot of apologies, and they recognize my points, you know. So use it like that, try to. This is called the cry of the heart, 2 paths to healing. Primal Scream Therapy by Arthur Genev, developed in 1970s to help patients confront repressed childhood pain. Patients are guided to relieve early trauma and release it through a scream, a raw, unfiltered vocalization of unmet needs. Genev believed that neurosis stems from unexpressed pain, and only by feeling it fully can one be healed. Chungshim One Prayer Vigil, FFWPU. Every night, unificationists gather to bow and shout, Abaji, Omani, calling out to the Heavenly Parent with longing and desperation. This practice is rooted in the belief that heaven responds to sincere, heartfelt cries. The shout is repeated 3 times, followed by a full bow symbolizing total surrender and filial devotion. Shared themes, theological reflection. In unification thought, the original pain of humanity stems from the loss of divine parental love. Janam's therapy seeks to heal the pain of earthly parental absence, while Chungshim Wan prayer seeks to restore the heavenly parent-child bond. This echoes Janam's insight. Both affirm that healing is not intellectual, it is experiential, vocal, and embodied. Implications for community development. In building spiritually resonant communities, emotional healing must be integrated with spiritual practice. Spaces like Chungshim Wan can serve as spiritual therapy rooms where members confront not only sin, but sorrow. Leaders should recognize the therapeutic power of ritual and design environments that allow for safe emotional expression. Closing reflection, whether through a scream or a shout, the human soul longs to be heard. In Janav's therapy, the cry is a path to psychological wholeness. In Chungshim Wan, it is a call to heaven, a longing for reunion with the source of love. Both are sacred, both are healing, both remind us the voice is the soul's first language. Okay. So, yeah. If you, there are movies on this whole process, both on Chungshim Wan and also Primal Scream to look at. And I could go on and on, but maybe I can take some questions if you have any, or I'll close with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Douglas, for sharing with us. That was a great testimony on Chungshim Wan and how by confronting the shouting prayer. I think many Western people resonate with struggling with the shouting prayer and it's interesting you brought up Primal Scream. I mean, I remember doing that, with members when we were fundraising many years ago, and how it was very liberating to touch our core as we touched heaven and invested ourselves, and it's interesting. Just recently, we had a youth workshop, and during one of my messages, I actually spoke about the primal scream in relation to the Chongsim prayer. What you were saying was so more complete than what I did. My thing was very short, but I demonstrated the primal scream to the youth, and I screamed in the mic, and it was a total surprise to them. They were just shocked, and responded after saying, "Wow," that they didn't think I was going to shout into the mic like that. But some of them appreciated it. Others were surprised. Maybe it woke them up to listen a bit more. I don't know. But yeah, this touching to our core as we touch heaven. I think many of the things that you said, and also what Kathy said previously, is very true. And God is, as we know, is a God of heart, and really respects when we say our sincere heart, without any of the trappings of the secular world, or concepts that we followed over time, that took us all many different directions. But coming back to our innocent true self, that's all that God really wanted, and for our innocent true self to grow up and become a good person. And so, yeah, thank you, Doug. And
John?
Yeah.
Reverend John?
Yep.
Reverend John, would you please play one of those 4 songs before it's all over? Leave yourself some time to close the discussion, and just let us experience one musical song together. Any of the 4 would be fine, but I'm particularly inclined towards "Zombie" by Cranberries.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Yeah, Dan Vasc.
Yeah.
That gets into the primal thing, but any of those songs are good. If you can find that, and allow enough time to play it at the end of today. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
I'll look for it. Yeah, if anyone else wants to make a comment, please do. Yes, Reverend Stone, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Terrific sharing. Amazing, from the heart, and really giving us a lot more background and confidence in terms of the Chonchimon prayer, shouting and everything. It was really amazing background, primal scream. Can you also post that AI reading that you did, talking about primal scream and Chonchimon prayer and the meaning of it? That was amazing. That came from AI, did it?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, could you post that? Because that is really quite amazing,
Be happy to.
Anyway, Doug, loved it. Thank you so much. Really good.
Thank you.
Yes, Marie, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just blown away by this. Thank you, Doug, and gaining more new respect for AI, which has been kind of a little bit scary, and but now I'm seeing that AI is awesome because it's not prejudiced. It doesn't have any bias, like human beings. It's completely neutral anyway. So I think it's really awesome what you've done with AI, and all the things you've said with music. I could I could go on and on because I've had some similar experiences recently listening to music with our youngest kid who's a Gen Z. And that's a very interesting generation of kids. And yet somehow, in spite of the difference in age, we could somehow connect through music. And he liked some of the old music that I used to listen to. And speaking of Primal Scream, we were listening to Janis Joplin singing Cry Baby. You probably know that one. There's some primal screaming in that one, pretty sure. And then if you ever watched the original, well, listen to the original Jesus Christ Superstar album. I think it was the Brown album with Ian Gillan.
Gethsemane.
He's the best screamer. He's the
Gethsemane.
best because of the screaming, and especially in Gethsemane. Yeah, I can tell.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying. Anyway, so I think I've had some kind of a parallel experience of connecting and having really deep emotional kind of catharsis through specific music. We could probably talk for hours, but thank you again. And I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Keitha, go ahead, and then after Tim. So first,
Yeah,
Keitha.
yeah. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Douglas, for many things, for taking us oldies down memory lane. And it wasn't all bad, yeah. That song of in Jesus Christ Superstar of that brother speaking about Gethsemane, you just feel the heart of God deeply in that, yeah. So it wasn't all bad back in those days, yeah. A lot of God was trying to touch and use that culture that thought there was a new world coming, you know. But the other thing I was reflecting on, the early days of our church. I know here we prayed like they're praying now in the Chongshun one, yeah. And yeah, we had the neighbors coming in to tell me to stop praying for one of my spiritual sons. They were worried I was having a mental breakdown or something. So we had that in the early days of our church here, a lot of that up on the holy grounds, praying over Wellington. And I always so thank God, Mother is once again trying, as she said, taking us back to the original roots and spirit, of our movement. My problem has been, well, apart from dealing with a health issue and not having the energy to hardly do anything, I ruined my vocal cord. I can't sing now very well because in the early days of Chompion, when we were said, shout, 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 pray so loudly, I damaged my vocal cords. So I'm a bit concerned when I look at those young ones in the Chomshin one screaming and screaming and screaming that they don't damage their vocal cords. But I came to the realization, like Doug, you mentioned today, Douglas, you can internally shout, scream, if your whole body and focus and mind is there. I don't have to use my vocal cords. That is a possibility because I live with my brother. Tony and I live with my brother, and I don't think he would. We can't pray like that here. So I found. So you mentioning that, Douglas, about it doesn't have to be with our voice, but with our intensity, our sincerity, and our body and our mind, we can still have that resonance. That
Yes.
yeah. So yeah, thank you for taking us down memory lane and the ways that God touched us through that culture at that time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead, Tim.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Doug.
Morning.
I found your your presentation very rewarding and enlightening. Personally, I've been touched and moved by music in my life, starting from my very early days when I guess I got my first transistor radio. I was about 8 years old, and listened to WABC in New York, and limited exposure with AI. I think the first query I put out there was regarding the actual evidence of man-made global warming. And it came back, and this one I was using, I believe, was Grok, but anyway, and it really did show that the claims are far-fetched, are not supported by the evidence. Let's put it that way. Then the next one I put out was having to do with the Holy Spirit, and that the Holy Spirit in the Jewish concept originally, the Shekinah, or the what's the word, the Ruach HaKodesh, is also, there is a feminine element in it. So the Jewish people understood that God had a feminine counterpart, or has a feminine counterpart, but it's in the translation from whichever one, it was Hebrew or Aramaic, I don't know, to Greek. Then we lost the concept of the feminine, because they used the word pneuma as to represent Holy Spirit, and that's a neuter word. So or maybe it's a male word. So we lost the concept into Christianity of a feminine element of God. So that's something that really also needs to be brought out and developed, and perhaps we can, I don't know, I could do it as a project to look into AI and see how I could develop that. It does bring out an incredible amount of information when you start digging a little bit. So it's kind of fun. It's great. So thank you very much for bringing that into the public view for our community, and that's wonderful. It's great to see you. God bless.
God bless. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. I found that song.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I can play that. I'll just
Maybe they can turn off their mics and everyone can sing it at home. That's practice.
well, they're yeah, can do. This is the one I found, Dan Vass.
Yeah.
Okay, Zombies.
Enjoy.
Another head hangs slowly, child is slowly taken, and the violence goes It's the same old theme in 2018. In your head, they're still fighting with their tanks and their bombs and their guns and their drones. In your head, they are dying. What's in your head? In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. What's in your head? In your head, zombie, zombie,
Oceania.
It's the same old theme in 2018. In your head, they are dying. What's in your head? In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. What's in your head? In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie.
Wow.
Their tanks and their bombs, they are crying.
Yeah.
Melancholy
What's in your-
Band is a little bit softer.
Yeah. What a dramatic song, that one. Yeah. So thank you, everyone, and thank you, Doug. I think it's now time for us to offer our unison prayer, and we can quietly.
Look at yourself quietly.
What?
But,
Are you-
just finding it. 1 second. Here we go. So let's pray together. Thank you.
The junction, meditate on them and go in there and
Jew. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again, Douglas, for sharing. And I hope everyone has a great day and see you all again tomorrow. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Adieu.
Thank you.
You,
Bye-bye.
Hey, everybody. Have a great Sunday.